This is FEG-1, Block 4, Session 3. Topics to be covered are modal auxiliaries, short essay, complete the sentences, and short paragraphs. So first we'll discuss about modal auxiliaries. Now, what are modal verbs? They are called auxiliary verbs also, helping verbs also. When in the previous sessions I have already explained to you what are helping verbs or auxiliary verbs. We call them modal verbs also. They are may, could, might, can, must, and so on. Now, what are modal verbs? You know what are modal verbs, how we use it, but let's study it in details. They are auxiliary verbs. They provide additional and specific meaning to the main verb of the sentence. They are called helping verbs also, auxiliary verbs also. Modal verbs are sometimes referred to as modal auxiliary verbs because they help other verbs. Now main verb is there, but they help the main verb. I can do is, I can do this work. Now do, work, all verbs are there, but can is modal auxiliary, which is helping the verb. The examples, some of the modal verbs are can, could, may, might, must, shall, should, will, would, ought to. Now these are the examples of modal verbs. There are many more, but these are few examples I have given to you. Now, how do we use these modals? How do we use it? Just see. I'll give you some examples and I'll tell you how to use it. Now subject, modal, and then verb. This is the setting. In a sentence, the subject is there, then helping verb or modal is there, auxiliary verb is there, and then the main verb. Example, Mary could play the piano. So Mary is the subject, could, modal or auxiliary verb, play is the main verb. So this is how we are using modal. They do not accept conjugation. They do not need any other auxiliary verbs also. There is no need of any conjugation, and there is no need of any other auxiliary verb, is, rm, no, it's not required. Straight away you can use it like Mary could play the piano. Now forms. There is no S in singular. No S in singular as we have do, does. There is no do or does in the question also. There is no don't or doesn't in the negative also. In the present indefinite tense you have seen that with the first form of verb in singular number we use S. He sings well. Sing plus with singular we are using S. And if we convert it into question or interrogative sentence, we say, does he sing well? Or if it is a negative, he doesn't sing well. So the S is removed and does comes. But in this case, in the case of these modals, and the auxiliary verb we are using, there is no S with the singular, there is no do or does in the question, and no, we don't use don't or doesn't in the negative. Now see few examples. He can ski. He can ski or can ski is all wrong. He can ski. Would you like to come with me? Do you like to come with me or would you like to come with me? It can't be that do you, would you together. No, they can't be serious. They can be serious is wrong. They can't be serious is right. So we don't need. I can ski, I can't ski. Can is the modal which is independent, sufficient enough to complete a sentence. We don't need any other helping verb or any other verb with it. Next, modal verb do not have infinitives or ing forms. I can, canning is wrong. It must, musting is wrong. There is no initiative or ing form with modals. These are the different conditions I am explaining to you. She must study. We should have gone the other way. He could play football in his youth. This is general ability. Now see, modal verbs are followed by an infinitive without to. To is not required. He could play football in his youth. To is not required here. Now see more examples of modal verbs. Modal verbs use other verbs to complete the tense. Can is completed with be able to. Must is completed with have to. Just see few examples. They can play the piano. Can play the piano. You must come early. Another example. You had to come early yesterday. Another example. They will be able to play the piano in the future. Now these are some examples of modal verbs. Now what do they express? Just try to understand what do they express. They can have more than one meaning depending on the situations. Now what is the situation? Accordingly, they can have more than one meaning. Now let's see some examples. Single concept modal. They have one meaning, and double concept modal, they have two meanings. And modals in past, they are used to express a situation in the past. So these are three situations I have explained to you. If it is a single concept, then they have one meaning. If double concept, they have two meanings. And if modal is in past, they used to express a situation in the past. Now different categories. Now see, single category, double concept in modals, and modals in past. So we have some examples here. Now single concept modals. First we will see the single concept modals. The examples are will, might, should, ought to, had, better. Now double concept modals, may, must, would, shall, could, can. And modals in past, would have, could have, might have, should have, may have, must have. So these are the different categories: single concept, double concept, and modals in past. Now single concept modals. We'll have some more examples with single concept modals. Now will, modal, the concept and the example. Will this concept is future tense, in future, and the example is Joe will travel to New York next week. Now might, what does might predict? A small probability. Might, modal is depicting small probability. The sentence is, I might move to Canada someday. There is a possibility of doing it. So we are using might. I will move to Canada someday. You can say that. But might, modal is appropriate here. Should, concept is recommendation. When you have to recommend something, then you can use this modal. See how the example is, you should go to the doctor. This is a recommendation. You are recommending him to go to the doctor. So we use should. Ought to. formal recommendation. When formal recommendation is there, we use ought to. See the example? We ought to know about first aid. This is formal recommendation that we are supposed to know about the first aid. So you ought to know. Instead of saying you have to know, you must know, saying you ought to know. This is a better way of saying, a polite way, or it's a formal recommendation. Had better, warning. We have to give a warning. So better way of warning, I had better study or I will fail the test. That is a polite way of saying, you better study now, otherwise you are going to fail. So you can say, I had better study or I will fail the test. So these are the single concept modals. Now double concept. Let's see some examples of double concept modals. Now the first is may. May word or may modal is used, the concept is permission. When you have to ask some permission. May I come in? So you are asking for a permission. So may is used. Second may is used when good probability is there, possibility of there, good possibility. I may visit Mexico this summer. The possibility is there that you might visit Mexico this summer. So we are using another modal may. Now must. In first condition, the must modal is used when responsibility is there. See the example? Everyone must pay taxes. It's a responsibility. We are supposed to pay taxes. We must pay. That shows responsibility. Another must, another modal, same modal, but concept is assumption. How? See the example? She didn't arrive. She must be sick. Now we are assuming that she has not arrived, so she must be sick. So this is assumption. Would. The first situation of modal. Would is past tense. Used to. When I was young, I would play soccer. This is in past we are talking about, that I used to play soccer when I was young. Second is present but unreal. I would buy the car but I can't afford it. Now this is unreal possibility. When there, then we use would. So this is double concept modals. Now few more modals, their concept and examples I will give you. The shall. Shall is another modal and the concept is educated expression offer. How? Excuse me, I shall go now. Shall I clean it? Now this is educated expression. Now when we talk polite way, we talk like this. I shall go now. Shall I clean it? Shall is another modal and the concept is contractual obligation. The company shall pay on January 1st. The obligation. It shows the obligation. Now could. The first condition of could, unreliability. I could go if I had time. This is unreliability. You are not keen to go, or you are just making excuses and you are saying I could go if I had time. Unreal. Second could, past ability. She could play the piano, not anymore. Now past she must be young or she must be good, or the situation was such that she could play piano very well, but now she could not play it anymore. So this is past ability, shows that could. This is how could modal is used. Another modal is can, and the first concept is present ability. We can speak English. We can fluently. So this is the present possibility. And one is concept is the situation is permission. When can modal is used. Can I have a sweet? We are taking a permission. So in different situations, in different concepts, the modals are used differently. Now, next situation is modals in the past. How to use modals in the past? They are modals refer to actions that happened in the past. how we use it? It must have been a difficult decision. Then have, been, and then verb. Modal must, then have been, and then verb in past participle. Modal plus have plus verb in past participle. This is the construction of a sentence. They should have invited her to their wedding. See the construction of the sentence. Should have invited. This is the verb. So this is the modal in past. Now how may or might is used. May and might are also very important modal. How we use them. I may not watch the movie. I may not allowed to watch the movie also. It could be I may not allowed or I may not watch. I might not watch the movie. There is a good chance that I won't watch the movie. In the past tense, always use might, not may. Katy Perry might have eaten a Big Mac last night. In past tense, we use might. Try to use might. This is how may and might are used. Now, modal verbs. What is modal verb? Modal verbs are can, could, may, might, must, should, ought to, shall, will, would, need, and dare. We use them to talk about, for example, ability, obligation, necessity, prohibition, certainty, possibility, probability, permission, willingness, request, offers, and suggestions. These are modal verbs. Now modals in past. Modal plus have plus past participle. I have already explained to you. Now I will give you few examples. Just see the examples. Would have, concept is past unreal action, and the example is I would have bought the car but I didn't have the money. Now unreal action. We are talking about something which is unreal. Could have, past and unreal ability. Again the concept is unreal ability. See the sentence. She could have taken the flight. She didn't take it. She could have, unreal ability. May have. The concept is past unreal possibility. We may have passed the test, but it was in French. You couldn't do it. Now you are giving the unreal possibility. Had I known it, I would have done it. Same kind of thing that we may have passed if it, but it was in French, so we couldn't do it. Might have. Past unreal or small probability, that is the concept. An example is, you might have sold the house if you really needed the money. This is how might have modal is used in past tense. Should have. The concept is past unreal recommendation. See the example. You should have listened to the doctor. Should have is the modal and this is the unreal recommendation. Must have. The concept is past real assumption, unreal assumption in past tense. How? We must have been crazy. This is about the modal in past tense. Now a last trick. There are few verbs which often serve as modals too. These are modal-like verbs and they need to be conjugated. How? These are modal-like verbs and they need to be conjugated. How? See the examples and concept also. The modal is like to. The concept is enjoy. I like to watch TV. This is the example. I like to watch TV. Want to. The modal is want to. Concept is desire. An example is John wants to buy a car. This sentence shows desire of John. Need to, necessity. Concept is necessity. See the example? We really needed to talk to you. Now the modal is have to. Concept is obligation. And the example is Susan had to pay the rent. There is obligation. She has no choice, but she had to pay the rent. Have got to. Concept is have to. And the example is I have got to go now. Again another modal is look forward to. And the concept is future plan. An example is I look forward seeing you again. Now this is future. I look forward to seeing you again. So this is how the modal like verbs are used in sentences. Now practice. Let's do some practice. The 4 options are there. Now you tell me, I think you will be able to find the options now. My son should be home by now. Where can he be? Second is ought to. The third is could. The fourth is will. And fifth is needn't. Now another sentence, the children must be accompanied by an adult at the zoo. Must. The second is mustn't. The third is must again. Ninth is couldn't. And last is can't. So these are the few examples. Now the next topic to be discussed is short essay. How to write short essay. In my previous sessions also, I have explained to you how to write an essay or a composition. The main 3 points are there in writing an essay: the introduction, the body of the essay, and the conclusion or the end. So 3 main paragraphs are there. In short essay, the number of words are less. In the body of the essay, you can write 1 or 2 small paragraphs. Of course, a short paragraph will be there as introduction, a short paragraph will be there as conclusion, but in the body, you can write 2 or 3 short paragraphs with few words. Short essay could be of 100 words or 200 words. That is short essay. Whatever is the requirement accordingly. So the topic here is what is life. So first you will define what is life in first paragraph when you give the introduction. Life can be defined as the experience between birth and death, or can be defined as existence itself, nature, the universe, or quite simply as everything in existence life is. It is self-evident through experience. This is what life is. Now again you will explain in the body of the essay, you will explain few more points about the life. Life expresses in a multitude of forms, but in essence it is an interconnected oneness. This oneness which is all there is exist and expresses in many dimensions, including that of space and time. So this is all you can explain in short essay. Now short essay. A fewer man's material need, the greater his freedom. Now few topics are there for short essays. Suppose the topic is the fewer man's material need, the greater his freedom. This is one topic. Very interesting topic. You can write a short essay on it, that if man has few material needs, then he will have greater freedom. Life is full of strange happenings. This is another topic for short essay. Life is full of strange happenings. So many incidents happen in your lifetime, and how it makes your life a challenge for you and how you face that challenge. This is all you can explain in this short essay. Wealth and happiness do not necessarily go together. This is another very interesting topic to discuss. in a short essay that wealth and happiness, maybe you have less amount of money but more happiness. Maybe you have more amount of money but less happiness. So they are not necessarily they go together. So you can also discuss this short essay easily. Now next topic is we have to complete these sentences. How to complete? If you have understood so far whatever you have learned, it's easier for you to complete the sentences. We cannot do anything unless we work hard. We do not know what is being taught to us. It is unfortunate that we are not able to understand anything. Like that, all these sentences you can complete. Now, how to write short paragraphs? This is another topic for the discussion today. Short paragraphs. There is a difference between short essay and short paragraph. Short essays are written, as I told you, under 3 headings. But paragraph is one single point, one single thought described in one paragraph. Paragraph could be of 50 words or 100 words also, but it will be a single paragraph with single thought. Like describe a vacation trip from your childhood. When you were young child, you had gone on a vacation somewhere, you have to describe that. Or you have to describe an act of heroism or cowardice. Both the topics are interesting topics. Maybe you had gone during your childhood time to your grandmother's house, who they live in a village. So you can describe in one paragraph your vacation, that you traveled there, you went to the village, how the village life was, who all your relatives were staying there, how much love and affection you got from them, and what all you did there during your vacation. So this is all you can describe in single paragraph. Or act of heroism of cowardice, that is also you can explain in one paragraph. So this is all for today. Thank you.